You are listening to Bridging the Gap, the podcast where we talk about businesses going global with the help of localization.
Stay put to meet the marketing, product, and software experts that make brands international.
And learn strategies to speak your customer's language.
Hello and welcome to Bridging the Gap. I'm your host Lukas Mehnert, and today we're going to talk about pricing and setting the best pricing strategy for your company. For that we have Dima Melnik with us. He's a pricing advisor for B2B SaaS companies. Dima, can you tell us a little bit more about you, what you do?
Hi, my name is Dima. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited. I'm a pricing advisor. I've been working as a consultant for 12 years, and I've been really lucky to work with famous enterprise companies like Skoda, Euroshare, Global Payment, and etc. I've also managed a subscription program in a unicorn startup called Rohli Group. And I've tried to count it. It seems that I help more than 70 companies find a way to increase revenues. Currently, I'm mainly focused on SaaS companies, starting from startups, where I help figure out the best possible revenue model, up to bigger established companies. We are looking for ways to increase price or to increase revenues. Basically, my vision is to help SaaS companies get the revenue they deserve, because there are really many companies, great products, but unfortunately, a lot of them are underpriced. And this is my goal, to help them win more clients at high prices.
Awesome. From my perspective, every company is struggling with this. And I wanted to ask you, why is pricing such a critical aspect for B2B SaaS companies from your perspective as a consultant who really knows what he's talking about?
I think it's easy. You can have the best product on the market. You can have a great marketing or sales team, but if you have complex packaging and pricing, you will struggle to get to revenue. Pricing has a direct impact on revenue. A lot of companies struggle with the pricing. They're not sure about the price model. Packaging offers are overcomplicated. The offers rejected very often, or they don't know how to sell at higher prices. SaaS pricing is specific. Normal business, you can buy some physical product and sell it with some markup. You buy it for €100, you sell it for 150. In B2B SaaS, it's a different situation because variable costs are very low. The main cost is fixed. It's an IT development. That's why we should be more creative in B2B SaaS in order to come up with really good performing price model. And pricing can have really dramatic result on company business. You can win more clients because you have very attractive and simple price offer. You can sell at higher prices because your packaging is focused on your ICP and you figure out jobs to be done of this customer profile. You can simplify the whole sales process. It's also quite often that companies prepare price offer for many days. Even I used to work for a client, the whole price preparation took in weeks. And I also had a client where pricing was so complex, even the sales team struggled to explain it. So when we simplify it, we simplify the whole sales process. Also, clear price strategy help to have clarity in product development roadmap, because you don't focus on 110 features you have in backlog, but you focus on your development, on features really important for your clients. And in the long term, thanks to it, you can increase revenue by 50% or even more. Of course, when you have a good pricing, you have a good valuation of your company. It's quite important. When you increase price, even for new customers, immediately you have a higher valuation, because it's counted based on the price multiplied by number of customers. Mm-hmm. So if you had price €100 and starting from tomorrow you charge 110, you already have a higher valuation and you can get more money from investors. So when we talk about pricing, we actually talk about revenue strategy, and revenue is crucial for all B2B SaaS companies.
Super. And what do you think are the most common mistakes SaaS companies make when they setting up their pricing?
Number one, I think that many companies get pricing wrong. They think that it's about numbers. They're really focused on trying to find if it should be 70 or 9 or 99 euro. Best case scenario, they try to test it to figure out what perform best. But in SaaS business, how you charge is much more important than how much you charge. Because if you charge per user, per contract, per minute, can change the whole industry. And I'll tell you one story. I worked for a company, startup, B2B SaaS, and they came to me. We charge for one client 2,000 euro, for next client 4,000 euro. And we are not quite sure if the price point is correct. After the whole price strategy project, we found that we need to implement a new price model. And when we found this small unit on which we charge, change the whole model, finally they were able to scale a product because smaller clients pay less, your clients pay more, and that's a great impact of the way how you charge. And the second typical mistake I see, because I have analyzed more than 1,000 price pages during the last couple of years. Most of them are overcomplicated. You can see 20, 30, 80 features to compare. It's very hard. We are humans, are lazy. We can prove it. Please, our listeners, try to multiply 12 by 17. I bet no one will do it. Maybe 5% will take a phone, open the calculator to figure out, but majority will skip this task just because for us it's too complicated. And it applies to a price offer. When you have a price page, which is overcomplicated, a lot of clients will skip the whole decision-making process and they go out. They leave your website. That's the worst case scenario. The best scenario where it's possible, they will choose the cheapest option. So please be careful. I test pricing pages, and number one important criteria for me is simplicity. So a customer in a few seconds should understand what your offer is about and should pick the best package for them. And I saw in A/B test when we added one extra feature, it's decreased the win rate significantly. So be careful with that.
That's super interesting. I want to ask you about the complexity because I recommend it also to my clients to make value-based pricing. They have only one value where it's based. And what's your recommendation for the best pricing which is not complex?
There is a common approach to pricing, even to value-based pricing. It's company first develop a product. Number two, we try to understand what value it brings to customers, or mostly we just compare it with something similar on the market and set a price just below that. The key problem is that companies are too focused on the product and they forget about customers, and they check prices of competitors, but competitors could be in different development stage. They're already not focused on acquisition, but they are focused on revenue expansion, or maybe they have a completely different pool of customers and they are focused only on couple of largest customers, and maybe even competitors also struggle with pricing, so we just copy mistakes. I have diverse approach to pricing. My secret is very simple. I always start with a customer. I'm not pricing a product. I try to price a customer. I have a lot of stories how I did it, but maybe I can tell one which is very famous and tangible. I'm a car lover. The story will be about cars. Do you remember why Ford Mustang was so popular back in the 60s? Yeah. Most people think it was the most innovative car, but the management didn't analyze it for customers, and they understood the ICP, young families that already have one car, but wanted to buy the second for weekend drives, and they had very limited budget, so they have roughly $2,500 Ford. They created a Mustang, but based on the platform of the old Ford Falcon. It wasn't the most innovative car, but only based on it we were able to price based on customer expectations. So I do the same. I start to understand our key customer group, what they need, what are the jobs to be done, what could be a usage frequency, what is a priority of features, and what budget they have, roughly at least. based on it, we can create a good pricing strategy.
Awesome. Thank you. Could you give us an example, like more B2B SaaS industry pricing? Do you have any favorite where you are looking for innovation? What are you checking?
I think the great example is Zoom. During COVID, Zoom was focused on acquisition of new customers, so it didn't care so much about pricing. But today, the main revenue comes from existing customers. It's not about acquisition and marketing. So Zoom spent every day trying to figure out how to price the product in order to increase revenues. And you can check the price page and you'll be surprised. They don't price product, they price customers. So there are different customer segment and everyone has a different proposition. For example, health institutions, they have totally different pricing, or businesses, or just physical persons. That's, I think, the best example. When you have the same product, but you have different customer groups and you adjust packaging, just price model and price to these customer groups, this is how you can charge 3, 4, 10 times more.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think is tiered pricing so popular? You can see it everywhere. How can companies determine the right tiers for their product?
That's a great question. So imagine you have only one price. Basically, you have only one result of a sales process, yes or no. So if customer rejected the offer, you are quite blind. You don't have enough information. You don't know if it's because of the product or because price was too high. Too high meaning like 10% high or by 100% high. You have no clue. When you have a few tiers, I call it packaging, you have an advantage. And first of all, you can switch attention from price to value. You can discuss with customers different packages and how they bring value to them, how they solve different problems for them. And that's already a huge advantage. Second of all, when you have few price points, you just have better chances to win because you have several price points and customers are different. They have different willingness to pay. Someone will stick to the cheapest one. Someone will stick to the most expensive. And the third thing, after some time, you can have an analysis and see what package performed the best. And if you see that most expensive tier or package is the most popular, you have a straightforward solution. You need to increase the price. Maybe you're just too cheap.
What are the benefits and challenges of usage-based pricing?
I like usage-based pricing because the idea is when someone gets more value from the product, they pay more. But it's quite challenging because every month a customer gets different price based on the usage. So quite often company infrastructure is not ready for such a billing, or maybe they don't have tools how to measure value delivery, or maybe sometimes even clients are reluctant to such a price model because imagine they have some budget and they want to have a prediction. They rather will pay 3 months in advance, or even 12 months in advance. So I see that when companies try to implement usage-based pricing, it's not a pure usage, it's rather fixed payment with some usage limit. It's more simple to introduce and implement.
Great. Yeah, makes sense. How often should SaaS companies review and adjust their pricing strategies? I think everybody has this question on their mind. Everybody I talk to, every CMO, every half a year, this topic comes up, and it's really complex if you don't have help from outside, from my perspective.
So it's very easy. When it's a startup, they basically need to reevaluate pricing strategy after every new deal. Every new client brings new information, and we have new information about willingness to pay. So every deal. After that, I would work basically on quarterly basis at least. So company need to be sure that if they implement something in the software in the long term, they can also increase price.
Okay. And what factors should trigger a re-evaluation of pricing?
Basically, if you are not sure if your price is right, you need to work with it. If you see your acquisition costs are growing because your marketing budget is higher, or you are getting higher clients and your sales team spend more time, you need to get more money from clients, so you need to rework your price strategy. If you are looking for ways to increase revenues, that's also a trigger. You need to look at your pricing, or maybe you see that your packaging became like too complex and you can see that customers drop your price page, or sales team has struggled to explain it. If you prepare an individual price offer for every client, so you can see that, many of them are rejected, and customers tell us that's because of the price, so you need to review it. Or in time you see that, we are going to attract bigger clients, so we want to refocus our proposition. So let's again review our price strategy. So basically, every time you changing something in your product or in your customers, you have an opportunity to rethink your pricing in order to charge more to increase revenues.
Yeah, super. My view on it, for most PLG companies, it will be not possible to do it with every deal. I think what you mean is like more enterprise. If you get a big client, then you can rethink your pricing strategy.
Yes, if your average contract value is below $50 per month, you have no chance to review price strategy after every deal. But when you focus on bigger clients and your average contract value, let's say $1,000 or $2,000, that already brings an opportunity to review your strategy after every contract.
Great, makes sense. And can you share an example of a company that successfully revamped its pricing strategy and the impact it had?
Of course. I had a recent conversation with a CEO of a SaaS company. We worked together back in time before we started our cooperation. He was persuaded that they're too expensive and they're looking for ways to introduce even like cheaper and limited version of the product. But during our cooperation, when we started from understanding who is our key customer, we realized that the price perception they had were coming from small clients. I call them small noisy fish. So they talk a lot, they're disappointed, they want the cheapest version, absolutely limited, and so on. But when we talked with bigger customers, I call them whales because they're huge and they generate like even up to 80% of the profit for the company. When we talked with them, we realized that price is okay, and they want even more advanced version of the product. They want innovation. They want to be the best on the market. So what we did, we refocused our proposition. We focused it on these whales customers and we innovated the product. And I had a call with a CEO of the company and he told me, "Hey, Dima, do you remember we are the big international client? We were competing for them and we were preparing a price offer." Yeah, of course, I remember. You know what, Dima? They told us that we are the most expensive on the market. Okay, really? But did they buy a product from you? Yes, they did. Okay, so that's excellent. And what package? Because we introduced new packages, so I was excited. I need to check, give me a minute. So he found somewhere in documents, they bought the most expensive. Okay, so client told that you are the most expensive, but they bought a product from you, not from your competitors. And actually they paid 3 times more than the price you charged before our project. So that was a really huge impact. And moreover, the whole price increase was done when we introduced integration in the product. So there are no major product development. It was a third-party integration. One more story, maybe recent, because AI is a huge trend nowadays. I worked for one company that wanted to introduce AI tool. They were disappointed because they talked with the customers and customers were reluctant. They didn't like the proposition. They didn't want to pay extra for AI. And when I saw the situation, I realized that this is again smallest clients. They're easy to reach. just wrote an email and they will answer your questions. They have participated in demo and so on. So I thought, no, guys, we need to talk with your biggest clients. Let's try to find a way how to reach to them. And when we talked with these businesses, we introduced our product, we talked about the jobs to be done, what we need to help with, and we figure out that the solution is actually great. These huge companies are really looking forward to it, and they are capable to pay 2 times more comparing the price they pay today. That's, again, the way you can charge even double or triple when you really understand who is your customer, how you can focus on them, and what value you can bring to them.
Awesome examples. Thank you. And what lessons can be learned from companies that struggled with their pricing strategies? What are the 2-3 main things? What comes to your mind?
So the simple thing, don't play with the numbers. Please talk with your customers. It's easy. Mostly people are afraid, but based on my experience, customers want to help you improve your products. So don't be afraid. Talk with them. Try to find what they value the most and how you can help them. And you can test price offer also with them. And of course, please don't copy mistakes from other companies. When you Google price page prototype, you will see many graphic designs, but they are overcomplicated. You can find better solution and focus on your customers, focus on their goals, and create your own pricing.
Super. Following up, what immediate steps can companies take to refine their pricing strategies, and how important is customer feedback in shipping pricing decisions?
All right, there is a simple advice: double your price today. If you can't do it, please sit and think what you need to do, what you need to add to your product, how to solve more problems, how to be the best on the market, how to do this innovation in order in the long term to double the price. I think this is the best exercise you can do today and find a way how to increase price. Another advice, of course, if you have just one price point, see that today quite often that some startups have fake packages. They have free package. After that, they have priced package. And the third one is enterprise solution without any price tag. So this is the same situation. Basically, we have only one price point you can test. If you have such a pricing, try to think about tiers. Come up with different packages so you have different price point, better way how you can increase revenues quickly. Don't think that you need to give the whole value in your solution. Think about your packages as jobs to be done. So first package, solve first jobs, let's say overview of some process. Next one can automate the process. The third one can help to sell or communicate or innovate the process. That's the best way to quickly increase revenue from your product. The product is the same, you only change the packages. Yeah, maybe one more suggestion is try to look at their customers, because we see most companies have a lot of data about the product usage, but not so many about customers. And the simplest thing I do, export all customer data, even from invoice systems, and I sort them from the biggest customer to the smallest one based on revenue they pay or based on usage they have. And that's a great example of work you can do. You can have a look on your top clients and you can try find what similarity between them, what you can bring more to them, how to motivate them to pay more. That's how you understand your best customers in reality. Of course, customer feedback is super important. Of course, when you have your proposition, I always test it with customers, and I have the approach I can share with you. First of all, I test value proposition. So I show price page or price offer without prices. Based on it, I need to understand if packages is good, if it's resonate with customers, if it's simple. After that, I introduce price model, because we need to know a feedback if price per user or contract is something feasible. And only in third step, I show price tag. So if it's 90 or 95, that's how you can get clear feedback. packaging is great, if price model is right, and if prices are okay.
Great advices. Like your first part, you said double today. I had like more than 100 B2B SaaS clients in the last 3 years. And my experience is that people are super scared to increase prices. Everybody who I'm talking to now, I can see more and more clients who are increasing every year their prices. And it starts to grow, but maybe it's an Eastern European view on it, that people don't like to increase prices and they are super conservative. Can you see the same?
I've talked with one CEO and she told me, we are really proud of our pricing. We haven't changed it for 6 years. So I was shocked, you know. Yeah, most companies are really afraid to change prices because they're afraid that customer will leave. Honestly, based on my experience, slight price increase up to 10%, you have no negative impact on churn at all. And moreover, when you work with pricing, it's not only about price increase. You can also update your product, constantly adding something new to your product. And that's specifically in a B2B SaaS, it's a software as a service. So you constantly delivering more value. That's the reason why you constantly can increase price. And of course, it's hard to increase price, but you can test it. When you test it with some customers, you're already persuaded that it works and you can go on. Also, you can safely increase price only for new customers and postpone the decision. Tell your customers, we're about to increase our price, but it will come in 3-6 months. That will be a safe price increase. Again, you need to communicate properly your price increase. You need to mention what new in the product, why you are the best on the market, what you're changing or about to change in your product. So you are basically telling a positive message that you're delivering more value. And only after that, you show that you also increasing in price. That is a really safe approach how to increase prices.
Great tips. And what strategies can companies use to reduce their churn through pricing adjustments? Because churn is one of the most burning topics, mostly for smaller PLG products. So what are your tips?
Number one, when you plan some product development, you can combine it with a price. So when you introduce something new in your product, you can raise prices. This is safe. Number two, you can rethink your packaging. So when you introduce new packaging, it's not so hard to change the price. And you can approach a price increase in a few steps. For example, you start with only new customers. After that, you go to your existing customers. And I know that you're afraid. So what you can do, you can divide your customer portfolio on 3 segments. Sort them from the biggest to the smallest one based on revenue. And the smallest third of customers, it's really hard to migrate them to new pricing. They're very noisy. So you can think about skip the whole price increase and leave it as it is. Next third, you need to migrate. So please calculate, for example, what will be a price increase, how far you go with it. Maybe prepare some bonuses for them. Let's say if you go to a new pricing, we'll provide a discount for an annual payment and so on. And with top third customers, you should be really careful. If you have a sales team, maybe sales team can talk with them, negotiate new contract. It's an easy and safe approach how to increase prices.
I love it. And I like here that you also give a chance for grandfathering the small ones. Yeah. In most cases, the small ones that are the customers who grow with your company. Yeah. Like who grow your company. And I see in many cases that in the later stages of the SaaS scale up, they forgot about the companies who help them to grow. Any final advice for SaaS companies looking to optimize their pricing strategies? Like anything you would add?
I have one simple recommendation. Please forget about your product. Shift your perception to your customers and really ask yourself, who is my best customers, and what should I do in order to deliver the best possible product. What should I do in order to double the price? So that's my final advice, and you should get the profit you deserve if you ask these questions.
Great, great. Where our listeners can find out more about your work and connect with you?
Please check my LinkedIn, Dima Melnik. I regularly write about price innovations, or check my website, dimamelnik.com.
It was a pleasure to have you, Dima. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, Lukas.
If you like this episode, please follow our channel and add it to your favorites so you don't miss the next conversation. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for updates and bonus content. Until next time, stay curious!